right, let's get this show started. Welcome back to Crunch Time, the show where you get the best slate overview in under 1 hour. Today we have a nice 5-game slate, and I'm joined with Chris today, as always, aka chrissair DFS. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Got a nice little 5-game slate, so we'll have to go into more depth than we usually do, just to cover the time. I just want to mention just how bad, or ask you, how bad is Marvin Bagley? He's completely awful. Just such a big bust. Looks awful. All the advanced stats are just there. He's at the bottom of all of them, so I just hate that guy. I want to mention that just before we start.
You hate that guy? Were you high on him before?
No, I wasn't, but
Never
he's just
liked him?
awful. Like, really awful pick by the Kings.
Who was above him? Below him? Trey and Luka?
I think he went to, Luka, Trey. I don't remember who else, but I think someone else good.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Trigger's already here with the Chetty. Chetty crushed it yesterday. I actually set up a group because I like the Cavs game. It looked kind of under-owned for GPP, so I set up a rule in the optimizer to have at least 3 guys in the group that I created, and all the guys in the group were Cavs. I think it had Dotson, Chetty, Exum, and Drummond, and it still did quite well, even though Drummond didn't hit value. I think he got 37. And then Exum got injured in like the first 30 or 40 seconds. I think it was a bad injury. I don't know how. But yeah, that was kind of bad. I thought I would lose, but I still actually, I think I did triple back in the GPP, so that was kind of surprising. I think it's the Chetty value definitely saved me. I think it was like 10x value. So yeah, Chetty, good call, Trigger.
Did you have any high teams in your GPP?
I think I had like a.
Do you want to just go over it real quick? Like, if you just pull up the contest, we can maybe take a look, just because we have a lot of time.
Yeah, let me see. Let me open that up. Yeah, if you guys are joining while this loads up, be sure to like the video. That helps us a lot with discoverability. If you've been here before and you like our content as well, subscribe, hit the bell button, hit all. That way you get notified whenever we go live. It's 2 hours before every main slate, every day. Good content. I think here it is. The history page on Fanduel is always really slow. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, you just click on the top left and then hit, if you hit the month, it loads faster.
Yeah, so I think it was $120 entry fees, $300 out. Not great, but it could have gone a lot better. I think if Exum played, if Drummond did better, it probably could have had a better shot at something a bit better. But yeah, I think the highest one here was 381. Obviously, it had Chetty. Pritchard crushed last night. I think he almost hit Hasty's stat line. I think Hasty threw us 18, 8, and 4, something like that.
Yeah, once he gets here, we got to show him some love for that. That was a pretty good call.
Yeah, that was on point. Hernan Gomez back on the slate today.
Is that a good thing?
Could be. But yeah, I mean, I think I went a little bit too much on Drummond. That was probably it. But I mean, just setting the player group of three Cavs kind of did a good job for me getting my lineups up there just because of Chetty. That's crazy value. What a crazy stat line. 4%. Also Dotson, he was kind of under-owned. But he probably did a bit better. Do you think Exum going out in the first minute kind of impacted Chetty and Dotson?
It really helped. It helped Chetty a lot. He came in and he got like starters minutes, so I think that was the main thing for him. Dotson probably didn't matter too much. I don't know how many minutes he played. I think, let me just check. Played 29, so nothing crazy, but yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I think even like lineups with Exum -1, they still cashed here just because of there were some good picks yesterday. Let's see comments. Hasty and I were telling y'all RJ Barrett crushed as well. I think that was one of our core plays on. Was it just on Fanduel or Draftkings, Chris?
It was Fanduel, but we had a bunch of Barrett and Randall in our projections. I think that you had them in both teams. I think in what you just showed. Yeah, so like these guys play crazy minutes, like most in the league. Just Tibbs Tibbs loves to run his guys into the ground.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Barrett's averaging over
nice.
40 a game. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like they're playing in the playoffs, but they were playing a random game on Tuesday against the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, do you want to jump into the first game then?
Yeah.
Utah at Brooklyn is our first game. Let's go over the injury news there. On the Utah side, we have favors, probable starters. We have Conley, Mitchell, Bogdanovich, Royce O'Neal, and Rudy Gobert. What do you think of Utah today facing the Nets?
So just a quick slate overview here. Every game here today has a spread of 10, except for this game. This one's at 4.5 right now, in favor of the Jazz. It's a 225 over under. That's decent. So this is a pretty good game to target. But as I always say with Utah, these guys, like, they all play the same minutes every game. They're all priced fairly. No one's out. No one stands out for me here. Someone that has a better price over on DK is Rudy Gobert. I like the 7-7 tag on him. Don't mind him as a last piece. Don't mind him in tournaments. Not cash viable for me. And then one other guy I'll touch on here is Donovan Mitchell. He's 7-4 on Draftkings, so I like that price tag a lot. I think that's really interesting in tournaments. Don't mind it in cash games as a last piece if you want to do that. But outside of those two guys, not really too much interest here. Maybe Bogdanovich on Fanduel tournaments, 5-3. I don't mind that. But yeah, other than that, not too much.
Yeah. Quick comment from Trigger. Love Rudy on Draftkings. The Nets give up most offensive rebounds.
Yeah. We also got a comment, top under E. You love 4K. Not sure what that comment means. If you want to clarify on that, William, we can answer that for you.
Yeah, I glanced over that. I wasn't sure what it meant, so that's why I didn't comment on it. Okay, Brooklyn side, we have Durant out with the COVID, I think, for a week. He's going to miss the whole week, I think. And then starters right now, we have Irving, Harris, TLC, Prince, DeAndre Jordan. Did Irving get a price up with the Durant news? Is he priced up yet? Or do you think he's still a viable cash play?
So on DraftKings, he's 9.3, which is a really good price. That's one that really stands out for me. On FanDuel, 9.7. I don't mind it. Like, I think this is a great spot for Irving. Obviously, no Durant. So he's probably going to shoot like 25 plus shots. Usage rate probably going to be over, 33%. So that lines up well for him. I don't need him on FanDuel. If, like, I'm not going out of my way to get him. We have guys like Dame, Kobe White, who I think have a better price tag that we can go after later. I definitely don't mind it if you want to jam him in. Like, obviously no KD. Kyrie should have a huge game here, but the price tag definitely stands out for me more on DK. We're still waiting to see who's going to start for Kevin Durant. We'll get that news before lock since this is the first game of the slate. So, yeah, going to have to wait on that one. Karis LeVert, I also think he's a lock over on FanDuel. He's 6'3", which is a really nice tag for him. I think he's a little bit more on DK, so not standing out as much, but I like him a lot over on FanDuel. And then another play on DK is TLC, Luau Cabarro, 3.7K. We're assuming he's going to start. He has been for the past couple of games. So ever since Dinwiddie has gone out, if his shot is falling, like he'll get the minutes. The thing is, he also has some downside. If his shot isn't falling, they'll pull him. They'll put someone like Prince in, someone like Jeff Greene, Landry Shamet. So that shot has to fall for him to get those minutes. But I do like that price tag on DK, only 3.7K.
I have a question from Trigger. Is Kobe White washed?
I think he got into some foul trouble last time, so I think that's the reason he saw a few less minutes. But I do like him a lot today over on FanDuel specifically.
Okay, let me open up the next game. We have LA against Memphis. 1 second. Okay. Injury news on the LA side. We have Caruso out, James questionable, and Pope questionable. Starters right now, we have Schroeder, Caldwell Pope, James if they're in, Davis, and Gasol. Is James playing today? He's always questionable.
Yeah, I assume he's playing. So So this game has the lowest over/under on the slate. 10-point spread favoring the Lakers. So obviously, if LeBron's out, we're gonna get guys like Kuzma, AD, Schroeder into our lineups. But as of now, they're all priced fairly. Like these guys are tournament only for me. It's the lowest over/under on the slate. Like big, large spread. Don't really need anything here from this Lakers side. We have better spend ups elsewhere. We have better value elsewhere. If you want to take some shots on Schroeder, only 5.7 on Fanduel. I don't mind that as the last piece, but not someone who I really want to prioritize today.
Yeah, with you on that. Ariane saying about James, he's been questionable since last year. Good comment.
Always.
Hasty just joined. He says, did he miss the Pritchard love fest?
Yeah, I said at the start we got to show Hasty some love for this. For that Pritchard call yesterday.
The stat line, he got it like almost on point.
Yeah, he scored a few more points. We got the news that Pritchard wasn't starting, which kind of bumped him down a little bit, but he was still popping in a lot of our builds. But he put up like 35, which was nice. Ryan definitely deserves a shout out for that.
Yeah. Hail Pritchard and hail Chetty yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over Memphis side of things. We have Conchar out, Tilly out, Porter out, and there's a note on. I think that's it. Starters, we have Jones, Brooks, Anderson, Clark, Joval. Any interest on Memphis in this game today?
So we have the news that what's his name? D'Anthony Melton is back. He was available last game, but he didn't get to play. He had the DNP coach's decision. So he's coming back from the COVID thing. Not sure if he's going to get minutes today, but I think he will. We currently project him to, so that kind of hurts guys like Tyus Jones, guys like Grayson Allen, like these guards. Now they have another body behind them, so less minutes. This is a tough matchup, so no one that really stands out for me here. One guy I'll mention just to say someone's name is Brandon Clark on FanDuel. We expect him to start. 5.1K is a decent price tag. Don't mind it in cash as a last piece. The power forward position is pretty ugly there, so that's fine for me as a last piece, but no one I really want to touch here in tournaments or cash games other than Clark on FanDuel.
Okay. Some comments. Pritchard's Hasty's boy. He said they started Tremont to bump his confidence. Payton doesn't need the bump because he's going to be backing up Kemba by the end of the year. Teague is done. Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like he's right about all that. I'm not a fan of Teague either. Like he had his time, had a few good years in Atlanta. I think he played some in Indiana as well. Had some good starts for us in DFS, but yeah I think he's done now.
Yeah, Hasty's on point with the commentary. I think he's going to get better at DFS as the year progresses, for sure, with his, I guess, basketball insights there. Next up, we have Minnesota against Denver. We can go over Minnesota first. Injuries, we have Okogie out, Noel questionable, Towns still out. Starters, we have Russell, Beasley, Culver, Hernan Gomez, that's Trigger's lock, I think, and Davis. Any interest there?
So obviously we still have Cat out here. The Timberwolves have looked bad. Like they've been getting blown out. So not really too many minutes for their main guys. Just it's pretty ugly here, but I do like Wancho over on DraftKings 3.4K. Like that stands out for me in cash games. We're kind of starved for value here today, so I actually do like that in cash games. Also, Ed Davis, if he's starting, we'll have to wait and see if he is or if they'll go back to Naz Reid. But if he's starting, I like the 3.4K tag over on DraftKings. In cash games, just as a last piece, just like Wancho, makes things work, so don't mind that. No one here that I really want to spend up for. No one that interests me on FanDuel other than Naz Reid if he does get the start, but I don't think we'll know that before the lock.
Yeah. Russell hit value last time. I was kind of surprised. I thought he was going to have another bad game. He started off, I think, was it the first two quarters really slow? Just the first quarter?
Yeah. I mean, I think he got there with some steals and blocks. I think that boosted him up a little bit.
It was definitely close.
Yeah, so he still only played 30 minutes. So obviously, I think he got into foul trouble quickly in the first quarter. He got 2 quick ones, only played 5 minutes, and then he didn't come back in until like the 7-minute mark in the second. So
Yeah.
that kind of capped his minutes. And then obviously at the end of the game, they pulled their starters with like 5 minutes left. So that kind of lowered his upside.
Before we do the Denver game, we have a question on the previous one, LA at Memphis. In case of a blowout, Ariane's wondering, any of these players stand out for you?
I don't know, like Kuzma, I guess, because we're gonna assume that LA is doing they're gonna be ahead if it's a blowout. So we want the guys that come from the team that score more points. So I like Kuzma. THT is viable if you're taking that route. Maybe Harrell, Schroeder, maybe. Guys like that, guys coming off the bench.
Anyone on Memphis?
I don't know about. No, not really anyone on Memphis. Maybe someone like Melton, Gorgie Jang, but no, not really. Wouldn't touch them.
Okay. Calling D-Lo tonight, Trigger. Okay, Denver. News there. We have Whittington out, and then Porter still out with the COVID. Starters, we have Murray, Harris, Barton, Millsap, and Jokic. What do you think of Barton? He looks kind of priced up. I think he was a good play before with Porter Jr. out. Is there any value to be found on Denver with Porter still being out, or is that kind of priced up now?
Yeah, so I love Barton today on both sides. He's probably a lock for me. 5.4 on FanDuel, 5.7 on DK. Just too cheap without Porter in there. Jokic also stands out for me a bit more over on FanDuel, but I don't mind him on DK either. 10.8K. FanDuel price is, I think, 10.5, so I do like that one. We're kind of starved for good center plays today on this short slate, so he sort of fits the build over on FanDuel. Jamal Murray, he's been crushing recently. Obviously, no Michael Porter. That helps him a lot. Gets him more shots, more usage. He actually shot 20 plus in the last 2 games, so I do like that. I like him in tournaments. I think he's slightly a better play over on Draftkings, but don't mind him if you want to take some shots over on FanDuel in tournaments. Garry Harris, I think he's kind of dusty. I don't want to touch him. Same as Paul Millsap. Like, if you want to play Paul Millsap as a last piece, as I mentioned earlier, the power forward is pretty ugly on FanDuel. He's only 4.4K, so, I mean, I don't mind it as a last piece, but, like, I think he's pretty dusty.
Yeah. Millsap is on my list as well, so I'm going to try to avoid him whenever I can. Okay, next comment, Jokic will smash from Hasty. And then also a question, Edwards the rookie. He's been looking pretty good, very aggressive. I think he gets a good run in the blowouts. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Ant-Man. I do like Ant. 4.4K over on FanDuel. That price pretty nice. We haven't seen more than like 26 minutes from him. That's the only problem. He does like to chuck. He shot double digits in 5 of his 6 games so far, so I do like him. I like him in the blowout too. That's nice. But Denver's sort of tough defensively. Not a great team total here. Only 108 for the Timberwolves. So I don't know. I don't mind it as a last piece in tournaments.
Yeah. And then one more comment. Your favorite thing to say, Garry Harris is one of those cardio guys.
Yeah, he's definitely out there just getting exercise, running up and down the court, getting to the corners. If he gets the ball, he likes to just keep swinging it. Maybe take a few corner threes. But
what happened to him? He was like at one point he was really good. Like, he was up there with Jamal Murray in terms of production. Was that just like a short while? I remember that, like a really small blip, or
no, he was good. It's just he doesn't have the opportunity anymore. Like, now you have Will Barton, you have Michael Porter Jr. Usually, you have Jokic, who has the ball in his hands all the time. Murray has developed well. He's taking a lot of shots. So Harris is more of that 3-and-D guy. Just very low assist rate. He has to get there with steals and blocks if you do want that upside, and that's kind of hard to predict.
Yep. Okay, next up we have San Antonio against the Clippers. On the San Antonio side, we have Aldridge questionable, and then Weatherspoon out for them. Starters right now, we have DeJounte Murray, Walker, DeRozan, Keldon Johnson, and Aldridge. Any interest in... well, I guess it depends if Aldridge is playing. Do you think Aldridge is playing? I was going to ask about Johnson because he's been He's been doing quite well without Aldridge.
I don't know. He's questionable. He's been questionable the last couple of games and has sat out. So, like, maybe you can assume he's sitting, but still, it's not a great matchup here against the Clippers. Obviously, they're good defensively. If he does sit, I do like DeMar. I like Murray. Obviously, Derek White is out now again with the toe or something.
Yeah.
So that bumps up Murray, bumps up Derozan. Keldon Johnson, I'm not high on. I think the price tag is too high. Even if LMA sits, I don't like it. Jakob Poeltl, I think you could get some nice low ownership on him if LMA sits, so I don't mind that in tournaments. Like, he's usually a guy that crushes for us, but he hasn't looked too good this year. Yeah, outside of that, there's not really anything here for me.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Clippers side, we have Marcus Morris out for them. Starters right now, we have Beverly, George, Leonard. One second. Batum and Ibaka. Any interest on the Clippers side?
So the big thing we'll have to keep an eye on here is if Kawhi plays in this back-to-back. This is the front end of a back-to-back. Kawhi has obviously not played in a back-to-back since like 2016, so he's going to sit one of these two games, we're assuming. This is the revenge game for him against the Spurs. Obviously, he spent like 5 or 6 years there, so if you're into that sort of thing, you've got that going for you. I like the price tag way more on DraftKings, 9.1K compared to 10.1 over on Fanduel. So I like him more on DraftKings. Don't mind him in cash games. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see if he does end up playing. Paul George, he's been crushing. If Kawhi's out, we'll just lock him in. If Kawhi's in, he's still been getting us 50, playing heavy minutes, so we do like to see that. So I like Paul George in both formats today. He's also more of a DraftKings play for me, 8.8K. Same price on FanDuel, but it just fits construction more over on DK if you want to go there. And then last guy I'll mention here is Lou Williams over on FanDuel, only 4K. Hasn't been shooting that much in the last couple of games, but you obviously have the upside if Kawhi does end up sitting, then he'll absolutely smash that price tag. So just depends on the news that we get.
Yeah. Trigger's saying Aldridge looks like the old dude at the YMCA, and Hasty's saying Kawhi will dodge pop tonight to load manage.
Yeah, so LMA definitely looks like that old dude now. I agree with that. And then I think we saw it in Toronto when they played the Spurs in San Antonio. I think he rested that game. I think last year he ended up playing against them, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think he's probably going to sit today and then play tomorrow, if I had to guess.
Another DFS comment from Hasty saying buy Lou Will tonight.
Yeah, so he's 4K on FanDuel. As I mentioned, I do like that price tag.
Yep. Ariane saying not resting this year. I guess
Kawhi.
That goes back to your LeBron versus Kawhi debates you guys have. Okay. Next game, Chicago, Portland. Let me just clear that out. We can go over Chicago first. Injuries there. Still Markkanen, Satoransky, Arcidiakono, and Hutchinson. I think they're all out with the COVID. Still starters, Kobe White, who you like, Levine, Porter, Williams, Carter Jr. You mentioned you like Kobe today, but any other guys on the Bulls side that you like?
Yeah, so the Bulls here, I think this is my favorite game. This is obviously the last game of the slate. So starting with the Bulls here on DraftKings, I like Zach LaVine. He's 8K. He's probably the only guy that stands out for me on DK, just with the price tag, but I think Zach LaVine's in a really good spot here. Obviously playing in Portland. He's from the Pacific Northwest, so if you're into that sort of narrative, you got that going for you. 8-1 on FanDuel. I like that a lot as well. I think he's near a lock, but just with this matchup against the Blazers, they don't play much D. They play fast. Right now, we have the Blazers favored by 9.5. I would probably bet on the Bulls to cover that spread. I don't think this game will blow out, but you never know. Other guys here, they're more FanDuel plays. We got Kobe White, 6'2". That's just way too cheap. They have like 4 or 5 guys missing. They're only playing a 9-man rotation right now. The backup point guard is like Garrett Temple, so if Kobe White stays out of foul trouble today, I think he should smash this price tag. And then Otto Porter got a little bit of a bump, 5-3 on FanDuel now. I still think that price stands out a lot. Just in this great game environment, this great matchup, he's going to play minutes, only a 9-man rotation. I do like him a lot over on FanDuel. He sort of fits the build, fits the second small forward slot, so I like that. And then last guy I'll mention here, Thaddeus Young, 4.1K on FanDuel. That's just too cheap. Like, he should see at least 27 minutes. 27 minutes against the Blazers is just, if you get 4-1 for Thad Young against the Blazers, like, I think you play that and run with it.
Yeah. Trigger saying take the Blazers spread tonight, and also Gafford is going to smash on Draftkings. What do you think of him?
So he's the opposite of me. I said take the Bulls spread here. I mean, you never know. As for Gafford, yeah, if you think it blows out, then yeah, Gafford should get some good run in the blowout time. Seems to always get there in blowout run. So yeah, I don't mind that if you think it's going to blow out.
Okay. Let's go over Portland side of things. We just have Hood tagged as questionable. Starters, we have Lillard, McCollum, Jones Jr., Covington, and Nurk. Any interest on that side?
I think these guys are also more viable over on FanDuel. Dame Lillard, only 9.2K. I like that price tag a lot. It fits cash game builds. Obviously, you have upside in tournaments with that price tag, so I do like him. CJ McCollum, he's too expensive for me. He's probably one of my favorite fades today. He's been playing well if you're looking at the game log. But I don't know. I think it's Dame's time. Dem looked good, so I think he'll have a big game here. Derek Jones Jr., 3.6 on FanDuel. Don't mind that as a last piece if you need it, but not going out of my way to get it, of course. And then Robert Covington, 5K on FanDuel. That's a really nice price tag. We're used to getting him around 6 to 6.5K, so that's a nice discount. He's been getting into foul trouble as well, so if he stays out of that, obviously, in this matchup, he should smash. They have the highest implied team total, 121, so I like that. Kanter, he's gotten the price bump. He's been playing really well. Nurkic, on the other hand, has been playing awful. Obviously, his price is low. 6K on FanDuel. I do like that in tournaments if you want to go there. 6-4 over on DK. Don't mind that in tournaments either. If you want to play him as your center in cash games, that's okay. But I probably wouldn't. Yeah, that's probably it for this team. Not too much else there.
For Jones Jr. to hit his ceiling, is that going to be with steals? That's what Trigger's saying. He'll only hit it with steals.
I think as long as he stays out of foul trouble, he has the floor, and then obviously, yeah, to hit the ceiling, I think he needs the steals and blocks, which he's long. He's usually guarding the main ball handler for the other team, so if he stays out of foul trouble, I think he definitely has the opportunity to get steals and blocks.
Yeah, for sure. Jones Jr. monster on D this year from Hasty. Agree. Okay, I think that's it for the slate overview. We can go over some core plays. Let me just clear that up. Before we do that, as always, more housekeeping. If you guys enjoy the content, be sure to like the video. That helps us out a lot with discoverability. And also subscribe, hit the bell button so you can stay notified when we go live. We go live every day, 2 hours before main slate. It's a good place to get your slate overview, and it's free content, so it's a solid place to be. So be sure to do that. With that said, do you want to do FanDuel or Draftkings first? We can go over some core plays, Chris.
Yeah, we can go over FanDuel first, as we normally do. We have a lot of time, so I guess we can build out a GPP, 20 entry max later as well. So first of all, we'll go with Caris LeVert here. He's 6.1K on FanDuel. I think that's too cheap for him without KD. I don't mind it, even if he's not starting. He'll get that usage off for the second unit, and then he'll probably close out the halves. So I like that price tag a lot. Next up, Will Barton. I mentioned him. 5'4", just way too cheap. No Michael Porter Jr. He's playing the Timberwolves, so that's a really good matchup. That price tag stands out for me. Otto Porter as well, 5'3". Yeah, we mentioned him. Just like it's too cheap for their rotation. Only 9 guys playing today. Not too big of a price bump that they gave Otto Porter, so that stands out. And then lastly, we'll spend up for first center Nikola Jokic. I just think we need to spend up somewhere. Center's pretty ugly outside of him, so he just fits the build today.
Okay, I'll just make a group here as well. I think we have a question on YouTube. Hasty says best tool in the game. Agree 100%. And projections. Thoughts on Derozan on DraftKings, Chris?
Yeah, so Derozan has seen, like, on DraftKings, he's usually a better price than he is over on Fanduel. He's been bumped up a little bit, but obviously if LMA is out, if they're going to stay competitive in this game, it's going to be with Derozan. So yeah, I do like him in tournaments a lot over on DraftKings. I don't mind him as a last piece in cash games if you want to go there. So yeah, I do like Derozan.
Okay. Should we hit build 10 or 20?
10.
Okay. Jokic and Sabonis are the best bigs in the game. Sabonis shooting threes now.
Yeah, as I always say when we go over the Pacers, I always say Sabonis is Jokic of the East. So yeah, I like that.
Okay, here it is. Getting a lot of Lillard and White, but I guess some more for cash. Let's go over. Do you want to go over the first two?
Do you have any groups set up? I'm not sure why you're getting Lou Williams, unless we got news that something about Kawhi.
I think there's some new projections coming in. Kawhi's. Yeah, Kawhi ownership getting bumped up. Let's see news. I don't see any news though, but.
Do you have any groups, Gary?
No, just 0-10.
Okay, so yeah, we can just go over these.
Oh, my bad. I don't know why that's at 3. Good catch. I don't know why it's at 3 though.
Yeah, okay. Probably from your build yesterday.
Oh, wait, here it is.
Yeah, so now, yeah, so this is what I was looking at earlier as well. So yeah, we're getting a lot of Dame and Kobe White. I think Kyrie is going to be the highest owned point guard on the slate, so some good leverage here. Not using him. He's 9'7". I don't mind the fade. He needs like 50, I don't know, 55 if he wants to probably beat the point per dollar value of Dame or Kobe White. So I don't mind the fade. I think he's going to be the most popular point guard, so I like using him or fading him as leverage over on FanDuel. Yeah, so Kobe White, good play. Zach LaVine, obviously good play. Karis LeVert, he's a lock. Barton, lock. Porter, lock. Thad Young, I mentioned him, 4-1 against the Blazers, just too cheap with their rotation. Jokic, obviously a lock. And then the difference between these first two teams is Clark versus Covington. So we'll have to see if Clark is starting. He's started the last 2 games, so I expect him to. I don't know. This is a toss-up. I think Clark also gets blowout run if the Lakers do blow out the Grizzlies, so you have that going for you. But it's really a coin flip between Covington and Clark. If I had to pick one, I don't know. I would probably pick Clark at this point, but that's a coin flip.
Okay. Clark is ready for the big thing. Clark is ready for big things. Plays blowout minutes.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So that should probably increase his upside, right, for tournaments if you're into that. Blowout minutes.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing. Okay. Do you want to go over one more comment? I hate playing Thad Young, but he fits the build perfectly. But that's from Trigger. That's the complete opposite of what you say, though. When he's at the right price and he's getting minutes, you say he's a lock.
I say that?
Yeah, you said you really like him, didn't you?
Yeah, so what did Trigger say? He hates him or he likes him?
He hates playing Thad Young.
But he fits the build perfectly. Yeah, so, I mean, 4.1K, 9-man rotation. He's seeing at least 27 minutes. So if you're seeing 27 minutes for 4.1K against the easiest matchup, then that's a pretty good play.
Yep. Agree. Okay, let's go over DraftKings. Let me reset the settings. Player groups. Okay. What about Melo? We have a question.
What about who? Sorry?
Carmelo, I'm guessing.
No, I'm not a fan. Like, we know that most of the shots are coming from Dame, CJ. Like, Melo can get hot. That's probably his only route to get there. He doesn't get too many other stats. So, like, if he gets hot, he can get there, but still, he's not going to put up like 40 points to break the slate.
Yeah, Hasty's follow-up to that is Melo's minutes have been dying.
Yeah, I mean, without Hood, that helps him a little bit, but like I said, the only route I see him getting there is if he gets super hot.
Yep. Okay, who's your first core piece for cash on DraftKings?
First, we'll go with Kyrie. This price tag is just much better here. Fits the build, 9-3, no KD, just a smash play. Next up, we can go with TLC, Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot. 3.7K. That's a really fair price tag for him. We're assuming he's going to start. Should see at least 30 minutes here, so I do like that a lot. Next up, Rudy Gobert. I think he's 7-7. I do like that a lot at center over on DraftKings. Should be a tight game. They always play one of Jordan or Allen, so there's room for Gobert. Jordan and Allen also play near the basket. They're not bigs that like float around the perimeter, so that helps Gobert as well. So I do like him a lot. And then lastly, I'll go with Will Barton. He's 5'7". Same reason as on FanDuel, just no Michael Porter Jr. Obviously, they have a really high implied team total at 119, so I like that.
Yep. I think that's it. We can hit build. Kyrie 9.3 all day, but TLC is a bum, even with 40 minutes from Hasty.
Yeah, he is a bum, but like if he sees 10 shots, he had some big games in the bubble actually. So I mean, if he sees 40 minutes, he'll probably smash that price tag.
Yep. Okay, what do you see in the first team and the second one? I think I see some Paul George, Juancho.
Yeah. So I think the big thing here is we'll have to wait and see if Kawhi is playing. I think he sits. But if he plays, obviously this is a really good spot for him, only 9.1K. So let's just go over these. Irving, obviously a lock. Levine, we mentioned him on FanDuel. 8K is also fair over here on DK, so I do like that. TLC, obviously a lock, so I like him as well for value. And then Rudy Gobert, both teams obviously a lock as well. Will Barton locked as well, and then Ed Davis here, 3.4K, last piece. Don't mind that, assuming he's starting. And then now I guess we can get into the 2v2 here. It's Jeff Greene and Kawhi versus Paul George and Juancho. I mean, if Jeff Greene is starting, if we get word on that, obviously this Jeff Greene team will pop a lot. Jeff Greene's projection will go up a lot as well, so I do like that. Not really a fan of Juancho too much, 3.4K. I would probably even take Jeff Greene over him straight up. And then obviously the other decision here is Paul George versus Kawhi. Assuming Kawhi is in, I think he's just a much better play. He shoots the ball a lot, does a lot of everything. So I like the first side here.
Do you want to touch up on Ed Davis? Hasty is skeptical there.
Yeah, so he sort of fits the last piece over on DraftKings, 3.4K. This is assuming he's starting. Last game he started for Naz Reid. If Naz Reid starts over Ed Davis, I'll probably have no interest in Ed Davis, but if he's starting, it sort of helps spend up for guys like Kyrie, Levine, Gobert, and Kawhi.
Yep. Let's see. We have a question over in the Discord. Any locks tonight for GPP? I guess we can go over those now. Or did you want to do some plays of the day for each category and just one, or what do you want to do? So there's like 20 minutes.
No, we could do that later. We could just, I don't know, maybe you can go over how you would build today's slate out for GPP since that's what you usually do.
Yeah. Well, first thing I would do is just build 20 or so and see what happens.
I think you have some locks right now.
Oh, yeah. Just if you can reply in the Discord, Chris. I'm not sure if J Todd is in the YouTube. I'm guessing he is, but not 100% sure. Yeah, first thing, make sure all the settings are reset. Then not 220. Hit build. GPP Garry. Cash Money Chris. Those are the names Hasty gave you. Yeah, so I'd see who we have here first. Oh wait, you said, yeah, there's still locks, my bad. Let me remove those. Yeah, so the first thing I would look at is just to see who the optimizer spits out the highest. Obviously, like Karis LeVert, 5x over the field, 20% versus 100. Same thing with Porter. Next thing I would look at is probably the centers, because you always bring this up. You can only have one center on Fanduel, so that's usually an easy place to kind of differentiate from the rest of the field, just because there's only one slot there. So just one change in center if you have a strong conviction there in one of the players, that could be a good route to go. Any centers stand out for you today, Chris, other than Jokic on Fanduel?
No, not really. Maybe someone like Gobert. I mentioned that he has a good matchup here. He's gonna be guarding someone that's in the paint a lot, not on the perimeter, so that helps him. Probably gonna see around 35 minutes if this game stays close, so I like that. And then also like Nurkic. This is a buy low spot for him. Obviously going up against the Bulls, they have an awful front court. They play D awfully, so I do like Nurkic as well.
Yeah. You don't have any interest in Davis on Fanduel?
No, I have no interest. Just he has no ceiling.
No ceiling. But even with the low price, near minimum, would you rather take someone like DeAndre Jordan there?
No, I wouldn't take either of them. I don't see any ceiling for them.
Okay.
I would take Jakob Poeltl and then hope that LMA sits.
Jakob Poeltl, yeah. Like Wendell Carter trigger.
Yeah, that 4.9k price tag is pretty nice. Obviously, Lauri Markkanen isn't there. I think if people are paying down, they'll probably go down to Wendell, but I don't know. I don't love him. He's pretty inconsistent.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably need to wait for more news to develop. Hasty hates Exum. He got hurt in the first minute yesterday, so I think he's probably gonna. Do you think he's gonna miss the whole season now, Chris?
We got news that it's a calf injury, so not the Achilles, which is good news for him. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Exum either. I think he's a bust. He was drafted too high. He's been injury ridden all his career, so not too big of a fan of Exum.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see what happens if we lower Jokic. See what other centers we get. See what happens. Probably Nurkic is an interesting play at center today, like you said. But yeah, I'm not sure. I probably would lower Jokic just to get some other options in here, because otherwise it's like 90, like a high percentage Jokic. So that's probably something I would consider doing first thing. And then definitely some player groups to do. Like we went over some of Chris's favorite core plays for cash. I would just leave this group in here and put probably at least have two of those guys in my GPP lineups as well. Nurk is the best leverage on Jokic from Trigger. Clement Davis asking, do y'all have a tutorial how to work every tool? We don't have like video tutorials or anything set up. We go over it on our show every single day. We also have our Discord community, so if you are a member, you can just reach out there and someone will always help you out with your question, kind of go over step by step whatever you're wondering. And then also this show is a great place to come by and kind of ask your questions there, because you have like the live video, so we can go over it and show you here with our screen.
It's definitely easy to use. You probably need like 5 minutes to go through everything, and then everything is pretty simple. Like we have a tutorial on the site. Maybe you can go through it quickly, Garry. it's like 10 steps, and then you get the basics down.
Tutorial. Oh yeah. Let's see. Hopefully that works right now. One other thing, if you are new to the tool, don't use it on mobile. It's going to be a little bit harder to learn. Definitely go on desktop first, and then after you kind of figure it out there, you can go on mobile and use it there. But desktop's a lot easier to use. But yeah, this is the tutorial. If you just click the top right gear icon, start tutorial, you can kind of go through it. If you log into the for the first time, it'll actually go through it here for you. But yeah, it's all here. Kind of shows you how to pick the correct, or pick whatever date you want to play on. Right here, pick the slate that you're playing on for that day. It just tells you that all the columns that you see in the player table, you can adjust the order, you can hide them, you can lock some of them, so when you're scrolling horizontally, you'll still see them. What else is there here? The sidebar here on the bottom left, that's where all of our settings, most of our settings, like 90% of them are kept there. Player groups, optimizer settings. There's quite a bit of stuff here in this sidebar, so definitely spend some time looking through that. At the top of the sidebar, that's where you pick the site you're playing on, Fanduel or Draftkings. Beside that, you can pick the sport. There's a bunch of sports. Yeah, as I said, the cards here in the sidebar, if you just click on them, they expand, and then all the settings show up for them. There's quite a few here. Optimizer settings, player or lineup preview, players, which shows you who you have in your builds when you're building like 10 or 20, 100 lineups. Yeah, lots of stuff here. What else is there? This is where you choose how many lineups you want to generate. And then
it's just where my camera is. I'm blocking it, but it's just under my camera. So
let's see if I can move Chris right there. Yeah, so here on the bottom, that's where you pick how many lineups you want to generate. Then the gear icon here, you click that when you're ready, and that's pretty much it. That's the basics. That would I guess cover most of what you want to do here. And then of course, you don't have to do player groups, but like if you're more serious about GPP contests, it's definitely something you want to configure, because then you kind of you get the players in that you want. Like yesterday, what I did, I looked at the Cleveland game and I saw the players on the Cleveland side not under-owned, but they were just projected to be owned low, like around 10%, a lot of them. And I just put a player group with, 4 of their guys in there, and just set a minimum of 3, and that just made sure that every lineup that I generated, at least 3 guys in the group that I had set up, there would be 3 guys there. So I had Exum, Drummond, Dotson, and Chetty Osman, and that did quite well for me yesterday. So that was like the biggest change that I did yesterday. So lots of stuff you can do for sure there. Hasty's wondering, do you think all the back-to-back matchups this year, baseball style, changes things?
Yeah, so I think we mentioned this I think a few shows ago. Like, yeah, it does change things. But there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to go with the slates. Doesn't really change anything strategically for us, but I think it's more of a it's more of like a real life coaching adjustment. I think less of a DFS, less change from a DFS standpoint.
Yeah. Hasty likes the sidebar. Trigger says user friendly. Hope so. We're always changing it, updating it, so adding more features as well. So we'll have more. One thing we want to do is have like player stat lines, previous games, game logs. So you'll be able to click on a player and you'll be able to see like their previous salary, our projection that day, and then what they actually got, as well as like actual basketball stats, like their points, rebounds, whatever else we want to put in there. So definitely a lot of stuff coming up. Favorite power forward on Fanduel, Chris?
So if that's for cash, I would say Thad Young. If it's tournaments, someone like Naz Reid. I think this is a spend down spot for both positions, or for both slots at power forward. So I like Naz Reid. You get the upside if he's starting. I think he's going to be under-owned just because he didn't start last game. He got into some foul trouble as well last game. I think he would have played more minutes if that didn't happen. So I like Naz Reid in tournaments, and Thad Young is probably my favorite in cash games.
Yep. What about Davis?
Davis who?
Anthony Davis.
I mean, I don't mind him. He doesn't really fit my builds.
Okay.
Like, it's the lowest over under. I don't think we need it.
Question from Trigger: point guard leverage on Fanduel.
So we sort of went over this. I think Kyrie's going to be the most popular point guard on Fanduel. So I do like just Damon, Kobe White. They're also really good plays. They even grade out better point per dollar. But I think they can be used as leverage over Kyrie, just because I think most of the field will be on Kyrie with KD out. If you want someone like Lou Williams, 4K, if you want to take some shots on him in tournaments, I don't mind that.
Yep. Yeah, so one other thing I'd probably do for GPP is probably find a game that I think might blow out and sort of make some groups and have a few players in that game. So I guess we can make one now for Minnesota-Denver. Any guys here that you think could get a run, like a good run, if it is a blowout?
So from either side or what?
Yeah, let's go Minnesota first.
I think like Naz Reid and Edwards. Yeah, that's pretty much it in the blowout. Those are my favorite guys. Just because they're going to be the ones that are getting blown out if it does blow out. So yeah, that's who I like on that side. And then on Denver, no one really that fits this mold, honestly. Like, these guys are going to be pulled in a blowout. Monte Morris maybe, but I also think he wouldn't play a blowout. So I think if you're going for that route, I don't think this is the game to choose from, just because you don't really have guys that fit that from the Nuggets.
Yeah. Trigger's saying he's guaranteeing an LA Lakers Memphis blowout.
Guaranteeing Lakers Grizzlies blowout. Yeah.
So who do you think here will fit that bill?
For the Lakers and Grizzlies?
Yeah, both sides.
So for the Lakers, Kyle Kuzma, I think Montrezl Harrell also. I think he'll play some blowout run. Yeah, those are the two main guys from that side. And then from Memphis, I like Brandon Clark. That's probably the only guy.
I think we just got confirmation that he is starting Clark.
Yeah, that's good.
And also, Favors playing today.
Doesn't really change too much there. I think we expected him to play anyways.
Yeah. Hasty likes Lou Will at 4K. Ariane's asking, in player groups, when I want only 2 or 3 of the players, should I put the bar between 2 and 3? I think so.
Yeah. So if you have a player group of like 10 guys, you only want 2 or 3 of them, then yeah, just set it to 2, minimum 2, maximum 3, and then yeah, it should do it for you.
Yep. Obviously, if you only have 2 guys in there, it'll always do 2. But yeah, if you want to get 3, sometimes you need to have more than that. Bowl from Trigger. What do you think of that?
Has he seen any minutes so far this season? Let me just check that out. So he hasn't seen minutes in the last couple of games. Yeah, like maximum I think he'll see is probably like 5 minutes. So I don't have interest there.
Okay. If it blows out, he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, you probably need like at least 15 minutes from him, but I don't think you get that even if it blows out.
The goat is wondering, is 5-man winner take all considered a GPP?
Yeah, it is. So if it's 5-man winner take all, that means only 20% of the contest win. That's like the same margins as a regular tournament. So yeah, I consider that GPP.
Yep. Yeah, this is definitely not the cash builds here, but I'll keep an eye on this. Do you want to go over some? It's unfortunate he has talent. Bull.
Yeah, I think in the future he'll start getting more run, but until then, I don't think we we need him in DFS. But I do like him a lot. He had some good games in the bubble, which is nice to see.
Yep. Just got confirmation. Melton definitely going to be in the rotation today.
Yeah, so like I said when we went over that game, that just hurts guys like Tyus Jones, Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks even. So yeah, Kyle Anderson too. Just they have another ball handler there in the mix.
Yep. Let me check DraftKings quickly. Got to be compliant. 2 changes minimum on DraftKings before you can build. So I think this is pretty much the default optimals. So this is always like the starting point. I always look at both sites for GPP. Yeah, again, 100% Ed Davis. I think that was the case in the previous builds we did. TLC up there, Irving, Leonard. Do you know, does he historically just sit the second of the back-to-back, or does he sit has he ever sat the first one?
It's usually like he sits against the weaker team. They play the Warriors tomorrow. I think the Warriors are better than the Spurs, and also like I don't think he likes playing. He likes playing the Spurs, so probably I think today is going to be the day he sits. But yeah,
yeah, he still likes bull, but his legs are going to snap one day. And he said he would be great in the summer league. Ariane's asking about Joe Harris.
Yeah, he's priced up now, so on Fanduel actually 4.6. That's really nice. I think you can get some pretty low ownership on him. He'll probably be second in the team in shots, actually third with Karras there. So yeah, I don't mind him in tournaments.
Okay.
We got Henry saying, "How about Chetty Osman yesterday?" Yeah, we went over that. Chetty seems to be a popular talking point on this show. I guess we got to bring it all together and just try to find out what product Chetty uses in his hair. then we'll go full circle.
Leverage over TLC. Shamit, question mark?
Yeah, guys like Shamit, Prince even. So if TLC isn't hitting his shots, I don't think he'll get a lot of run. So Prince, Greene, Shamit, yeah, those 3. Joe Harris even.
Okay. What do you think of the higher value pieces we have projected today? Like, what do you think of Hernan Gomez? Because we have him quite high up here. Relatively low ownership. Any interest for GPP?
Yeah, so it's just because we're on a 5-game slate here. We're kind of starved for value, so yeah, I don't mind any of these guys really.
Okay. And then I guess we can go see who we have highest projected. Just Nurk and TLC, Leonard, Levine. Any of these guys you would consider fading? Like if you were to fade a few of these guys?
Maybe Kawhi, like just because I keep saying I don't think he plays today. You can just fade him, bump up Clippers, and then roll with that. Anyone else here? Maybe someone like Kyrie. He's going to be the most popular play on the slate. If he doesn't hit like 50, then he's probably gonna. You can have leverage on him by going elsewhere.
Okay. Thoughts on Jamichael Green? He's picking up ownership.
Jamichael Green. Yeah, so I think he played his second game last time out against the Timberwolves. Like he's fine as a last piece, but not going to go out of my way to get Jamichael Green just because they have Jokic, who he's going to be out there for 36 minutes at least. They have Millsap as well. Just they have too many guys ahead of him, in my opinion.
Okay. If you guys have any more questions, we can go over them. Probably wrap it up soon. Anything you'd want to go over, Chris? Maybe some more GPP, any features, anything like that?
I think we can go over some of my favorite cash play of the slate, fade of the slate, tournament play of the slate, stuff like that, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay, let's do that. Before we do that, actually, one thing I can bring up is the contests tab we have at the bottom. I think you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. So we have this feature on our site which works. You can go back in time. If you click the calendar and pick a previous day, you'll see all the contests then. You can see today's contests. Do you want to touch up on that, Chris? Because you were the one who wanted to have this feature. Do you want to maybe just say how you use it, what you look at when you're in here?
So, I mean, depends what type of player you are. If you're obviously a tournament player, you should definitely go back to previous slates and see like who won, like who you missed, who you could have been on, who you didn't think of, stuff like that. Like take note of the construction of the lineup that won, see if it was different from the way you were thinking. Like let's say today is obviously a spend up for Jokic spot on Fanduel. If the winner ends up being like a spend down or mid tier at center, you can try to put yourself into their mind and see why they did that. I mean, it's probably because they're trying to gain leverage over everyone who's playing Jokic, and just by spending down at center, you get a different build. So stuff like that. And then in cash games, you can find some of your favorite players, see what they did every day, and then see what you did differently, stuff like that. See if you missed on anyone, see things like that. Just it's a good place to study.
Yeah, there's a few ways to do your homework on DFS Crunch. We have this. We also have back testing, so you can actually build lineups on previous slates. So yeah, there's some good back testing and homework, and some time you can kind of spend here developing your strategy. Yeah, okay, let's go over your favorite plays then, and then wrap it up. On FanDuel, who's your favorite cash play?
On FanDuel, my favorite cash play, it's just going to be Jokic. Like, center is thin. He fits build, so it's Jokic on FanDuel. And then on Draftkings, it's Kyrie. Just a smash spot here with no KD. 9.3K stands out a lot over on DK. So, yeah, Jokic on FanDuel, Kyrie on Draftkings.
Okay, and then tournament on FanDuel, who's your favorite play?
On FanDuel, it's a little tougher. I'll say someone like Paul George, 8-8. Not many people go there, but you get the upside of if Kawhi sits, Paul George is in a great spot here. So he's looked really good. So yeah, Paul George on FanDuel. And then on DraftKings, yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell a lot. He's 7-4. He shouldn't be too highly owned. It's the tightest spread of the slate, sorry. So yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell as my tournament play on DraftKings.
Okay, and then last thing, your fade of the day, is that for GPP?
Yeah, I guess we can just consider it to be a high-owned player in GPPs, and then yeah, who I'm gonna fade. So I guess on FanDuel, I don't want to say Kawhi just because I've been saying that I think he's gonna sit this whole show. This could be weird, but I kind of want to say Jokic. He's going to be super highly owned. Love him in cash games. Obviously, I have him as the lock there, but I think in tournaments, I would probably have him as my fade of the day.
Yeah, I think so too. That's probably where I'll start my construction after this show. Just exclude Jokic completely and sort of see what happens with no other settings, and then kind of go from there. See if I like it. If I do, go from there.
The thing I want to say about that, you don't have to completely fade him. You can just match the field, and then you're kind of safe. Like,
yeah,
if you match with the field on him, yeah, it just gives you some safety if he absolutely goes off.
Yeah.
And then on DraftKings, let me see here who I think would be my fade of the day.
Hasty saying Mitchell is due for a big one.
Yeah, he is. He's due. I think his true shooting percentage has been around 40, which is really low. He's usually around 55, or 55%. So I think he's definitely due for some positive regression there.
Yep.
And then, yeah, my favorite fade over on DraftKings, it's probably just Kawhi Leonard. I don't think he plays. I think he's going to be popular on DraftKings, like leading up to lock, just because his price tag stands out. So, yeah, Kawhi Leonard is my fade in tournaments on DraftKings.
Okay, sounds good. I think that's it for today then. We can wrap it up. If you guys... Oh, Ariane's saying Kuzma starting again. Oh yeah, we just got word of that. Good catch. Kuz
For-
is starting today.
For KCP, I assume, not for
Yeah,
LeBron.
Pope is out.
Yeah, so I mean, he started off hot last game. He had like, I don't know, 12 or 14 in the first quarter. He ended with 19, so you could just tell that playing with LeBron and AD, it doesn't really give him that upside, even if he gets hot early. So I don't know, not too much interest there. If you want to play him in cash games on FanDuel, 4.1K it's fair. So I don't mind that.
Okay. With that said, can wrap it up now. If you guys enjoyed the content, be sure to like the video. That helps us out quite a bit with growing our channel. And then if you want to come back here, hang out here again, ask more questions, get all your news leading up to the slate, get a good overview, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified for when we go online. It's 2 hours before main slate each and every day. And then one other thing, last thing here, if you like the tool, our projections, our optimizer that we use that you see during the show, you can get access to that for free if you've never been a member. There's a 3-day free trial to all new subscribers, so you can get that at dfscrunch.com. You get access to everything you saw today: projections, optimizer settings, Discord community, which you don't see during the show, access to a lot of stuff that we have, weekly $25 a week and monthly $75 a month. Lots of sports. What sports are left now, Chris? We have NBA, we have UFC coming back, NHL starting up soon, football wrapping up.
We have NFL playoffs starting up. That's always fun. You got the showdown slates on DK, and then obviously the single game slates on FanDuel. Those have been good. NHL 1 week away. That's exciting. MMA you mentioned. So yeah, a lot of stuff on here.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. I think one last question. Optimizer settings, do we change randomness? Do you want to touch on that one, Chris?
So the thing I always say here is I think the projections are really good. I wouldn't touch it, but if you are only in tournaments, I would do it. For NBA, I'd probably set it around two or 3. That just means that you'll get so for every player, if let's say a player is projected for 10 points, if you set it at 3, that means that you'll get plus or minus 30% on that player's projection. So obviously, if he's projected for 10, he would be randomized somewhere between 7 and 13.
Yeah.
And then it would do this for every player in the player pool.
Yeah. I'll touch up on that as well. For NBA, like Chris says, projections are quite sharp. So I prefer to have more control and sort of like force in players that I like using player groups or minimum and maximum percentages, limiting or increasing people by adjusting those. So I prefer that over randomness. But I guess it just depends on how much time you have. I guess that gives you a different build than everyone else with minimal settings. Even League of Legends. Yeah, League of Legends and Counter-Strike as well. So we have those as well.
Yeah, we actually have LPL is starting up in like 3 days, I believe. That's League of Legends. So I do like playing that. The only problem is it's so easy to find the optimal build that everyone like runs the same lineup in contests. So like our projections are sharp. That's pretty much all I'm saying, and I'm saying it's pretty easy to find the optimal in League.
Yep. Okay, with that said, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 2 hours before main slate. I think it's at probably 4 p.m. tomorrow, if I'm guessing. And we're going to be in the Discord now, answering more questions, bringing up any news that comes up, and building our lineups. So, yeah, good luck today, and see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.